So if you're unfamiliar, like in simple terms here, what Nate's trying to do is on the same side, look to get his underhook, okay? Build up to things like the Coyote guard and the dogfight, okay? If you're not sure what that is, you can go back to the YouTube page and kind of review those videos a little bit, okay? So the person who gets the advantage here is typically gonna be who wins that battle with the underhook, okay? Now we're gonna look at more advanced struggles with that, I guess you could say, in the next class, okay? For this class, we're gonna start with a really basic premise, okay? And that's like tight elbows. We do this a lot when we wrestle too, to not give up underhooks. So when Nate goes to push that underhook in, okay? We're gonna look to intercept with our left hand here, okay? We don't want him to have a straight shot here. As we use this tight elbow position to start to punch our underhook, okay? Now from here, we're gonna tend to situate ourselves a little low as we get the cross face and we start to drive them flat, okay? That part's not gonna be too difficult. It's pretty intuitive here if you start to win the underhook. In the next class, we're gonna have more work to do there, okay? Now, this is what we're gonna look to do here. This is good, we've gotten them flattened out. In some rule sets like IBJJF, this might even be an advantage to some referees, okay? But now we gotta start working on passing his guard, okay? First and foremost, my right foot here. I don't want this to drift out too much, okay? Like I don't want Nate to throw in that Coyote hook with his left leg. Start to pull this out. Yeah, we're going to things like lockdown, okay? So what we really want to do once we get here is bring this right heel in, okay? So now it's hidden, you can't really grab it, okay? Now, with our upper body here, I want to start to form strong grips, okay? Particularly the cross face. So from here in no-gi, we're pretty much set on grabbing the lat here. Okay, now that we're in the gi, I'm going to give you guys another good option here this week, okay, which is pulling out your partner's lapel, feeding it under, and then using that to cross face, which will give you a really good pressure here. Very similar to what we do in side control, okay? Now, when we're ready to pass, okay, let's talk about my left leg. Typically the job of my left leg is to stop Nathan from bringing his bottom knee out so he can't recover closed guard. So you guys see my left leg is generally parallel to his body right now. But when I go to drive the quarter guard, watch, I'm gonna switch my hips here. Okay? So now my left knee is blocking his bottom leg. Like, try to get your closed guard back. See? Whereas if I'm here, yeah, he can slide that knee through. That's no good. Okay? So make sure your left knee is like pushing on that leg, okay? Now, as we start to move through here, I don't want his hand pushing my knee. So make sure when you have this underhook, like we're in mount, you're really walking this up, okay? And then from here, we're gonna look to drive our right knee over, and then we'll be in a strong variation of quarter guard here. So a lot of times, if your big steps here aren't allowing you to shake your knee out and drive it over, okay? When you go to let go, and you push his knee down, Nathan's general response here, as I push his legs down, is to take this hand and start to push on my knee. He knows I want to drive my knee over, okay? So in situations like this, we can look for the underhook by itself and just walk it up. That will work a lot, okay? If we can't break this, we can look for other things we've done like wrist pins and switch to the underhook there. Or even like more advanced things like feeding this to the Americana, make him think you're going for the submission, when really, again, you're just using this to set up an underhook. Here that we can do that we've done in the past, okay? Let's say like you do get the underhook and you're like, man, I really don't want to let go to push the knee down because he's gonna push, okay? You guys can really just start to think to advance some of your mount attacks, specifically a head and arm or an arm triangle here, okay? So if you guys weren't here, like this is probably a few years ago at this point, but we can always look to walk this up, get our head on this side, and look to get his arm here. So now if he tries to push my leg down, he can't, okay? So if his legs are still up here, we can threaten the arm triangle and the pass at the same time, which is always a really solid game plan for guard passing, okay? Guys, this first part's the most important part. That's what we're really working on this week, is beating that underhook, okay? So when he comes through, we'll intercept with a cross grip, punch our underhook, and then look to get the cross face here as we flatten our partner out. Remember, we want to hide our feet here, almost like you're sitting in closed guard, okay? Don't be lazy with this leg and let him have it. Yeah. Okay, right here. Now, this is optional, but again, this will provide you some good control here. If you're in the E, you can look to start pulling out this lapel. Make sure you're popping all the slack out. Punch it under the armpit, feet tight. And that grip will give us really good cross-face pressure here, okay? Now, when we're ready to drive to quarter guard, okay, I need to switch my hips so my bottom leg, my left leg can block this leg. And you guys see when I switch, my right knee is starting to come up. This is a requirement to go to quarter guard here, okay? So you can kind of like climb your legs over my knee. Yes, okay? That's what we're fighting against. Now, as I'm going to quarter guard, make sure you guys are taking big shoveling steps here, okay? It's gonna help you push down the knee, okay? And of course, while we're doing all of this, my right hand, okay, let's keep that underhook high so he's not pushing our knee down, okay? So I'm stepping and shoveling, okay? You can keep your knees high. And then as we drive over, if we need to, we can make smaller movements here where we push with the elbow and then reacquire the underhook however we see fit. Okay, here. Okay. And make sure you guys are finishing as if you're mounting the person, okay? You're ear to ear, and you're really keeping the arm above the head. Okay, I intercept, I punch my underhook, okay? We're here. Again, the lapel is optional, okay? If you want to get some no-gi work in here, you can just grab the armpit and make your shoulder pressure here. Guys, when you make your shoulder pressure, you shouldn't be too disconnected here. Like really keep your head close so we're not relieving the shoulder pressure, all right? Big steps, clearing the knee, then getting the underhook however I need to. And I'm staying here with my head, guys. I'm still staying low in this position. I'm still not disconnecting too much, all right? Now, our upper body controls here are gonna determine what passes we use, okay? So I have an underhook on this side. So what we've been doing in the 7 o'clock class, for example, a double knee cut. I wouldn't knee cut to this side because Nathan has an underhook on this side. I don't want him to hop on my back as I pass his guard here. Okay? I would do that if I had double underhooks or just an underhook on this side. So really a good basic option here, and like you can use this with most upper body controls here, is to pretty much open the knees so you can go right to mount or a different good top position here. So the way we're going to do that is on the side of our underhook, we're actually going to start to roll our hips that way. And I don't know if you guys can see, but as I roll my hips, I'm pushing my right knee down. Okay, it's kind of keeping his legs in place. Okay, as I push his right knee down, I'm not trying to pull my foot out of this so much as that I'm actually trying to put both of my feet between his legs. Okay. See, so it's like I almost have like two top butterfly hooks here, okay? Now once I have his legs open, okay, I can start to flick my feet off one at a time. 1, 2, and then we can pass straight to mount. Within this cross-face underhook quarter guard, all right, so depending on how the bottom person's reacting here, okay, try to turn your hips this way, yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. Sometimes as you're kicking off to mount here, you might feel like they're going to try to use their leg to pull your foot back through. That's a genuine concern. Okay, so later on here, okay, we can look to utilize different strategies here where we actually do what we call foot pummeling or windshield wiping here. So if I know he's about to push my foot back through, we can look to do things like foot pummel, go to things like side control, or even a low knee on belly here. So what does that really leave us with? Well, we can look at almost like a really basic version of what we call a tripod pass here, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna roll our hip to the mat as we drive his knee down. We're gonna wedge our second foot inside of the half guard here. So I'm really pushing in with my toes, and I'm keeping my feet on the inside of his knees, okay? Now from here, as I open them up, pass 1, pass 2. And we'll be right in mount with already a good crossface and underhook in place. What we're looking at doing is, this would be preemptive, it's just putting that all together, okay? Grant coming up and getting his wrist through, that'll be where we're working for first here with this thumb post. we're slow there, him getting the elbow, which kills the thumb post, which will make us switch to a hip post. And then finally, if he cuts all the way around the corner and we're shoulder to shoulder here, we'll look at a different strategy where we start bringing the knee and backstepping. Let's start off with the wrist here. Okay, so we have this thumb post first. All right, so a couple things here as we're operating. All right, again, first of all, the role of my inside leg is to stop his middle leg from coming out here to form some sort of different guard, closed guard, butterfly guard, anything like that. Okay, so let's make sure we're always using our outside leg here to trap this middle knee as we go through this whole process. Okay, now as I'm thumb posting here, okay, he's already won the battle for the underhook if his wrist is through. So we're actually going to focus on getting an underhook on the other side. Okay, so from here, one of the requisites for that is we need to be lower than his shoulder. Okay, specifically, my shoulders and my head need to be under the shoulder. Okay, here. Okay. If I try to go for the underhook like this, he's going to activate this pretty strong. Okay, so here. All right. This doesn't need to be in a particular spot. We just want to make sure we're low here. All right. Now, as I come low, we want to imagine we're bringing everything this way. Okay. This includes my right foot. I want to hide this. Okay? So Grant's not making a coyote hook here as well. Okay? So, upper body, if I could, I would bring my head that same way. My elbow as well. Okay? I'm going as low as the hamstring here. If you guys want to grab the belt of the knee, feel free. Otherwise, you can just hold tight here. This is what we're going to do in no gi anyways. Okay? Now, I'm just going to start rotating to bring him to the mat. Okay. Now, once we flatten him out here, guys, it's really important you keep this elbow tight. Don't loosen up on this and let him have this arm back. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely something that he can use here. So it's really important we keep this elbow tight. Okay. As he drops, we can also start advancing our underhook, something like a mount underhook, where we really start to crawl this up and make this shoulder weak. Okay. Now, from here, I'm going to start to switch my base off of my knees, okay? My goal here is to walk his legs to this side to get a quarter guard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to switch my hips here. You guys see when I switch my hips, my left knee is still blocking his bottom leg. So if he tries to get his bottom leg out, see, it's still stuck, okay? Now from here to drive his legs over, I'm going to take big sweeping steps. Keep that elbow nice and tight as you do this. Okay, you'll feel his hips start to turn in this direction. Okay, once you feel that, for many reasons, you want to try to use your elbow to push the knee down. A, in this scenario, it helps me keep the overhook monitored. Okay, and B, in other scenarios, if I use things like my hand and he reaches under here, okay, he can off balance me. We don't want that. All right. So regardless of your upper body configuration here, just get into the habit of using a tucked elbow, okay? And from there, we're gonna use that to free our knee, drive it over. We're settling nice and low, ear to ear, squaring up like we're in mount. And guys, don't be lazy with your right hand here. He's gonna be trying to rip this back through. Lift it, okay? And so if he tries to reach down and push my knee, go ahead. It's difficult. He's kicking through for his underhook. Okay, we're getting that thumb post so he's not cutting around the corner on me, okay? The next order of business here is to get low. The more we stay up here, the easier it is for him to start passing this by, okay? So nice and low here. Head and shoulders below his shoulder, and we're getting the underhook here. It doesn't need to be in a specific spot. Just gonna recommend the lower you sink, the better right now, okay? We're taking everything this way as we drive him flat, and pitching our elbow tight to the hamstring. Okay? And from here, we can start to solidify that near side underhook, okay? Just stay nice and high in the armpit here, okay? Now, we're not staying on our knees when we do this, okay? We'll talk about why that can be potentially a little bad in a second, okay? We're coming here, okay? Like your windshield wiping your legs this way. Now, long dragging steps. Resist this way a little bit. I don't want to just like do this. See, I'm not moving. Walk, drag. And then as you start to feel that tilt, You can use your forearm to push down the knee. And we'll drive into quarter grip. We're here, turning and rotating, climbing our underhook up, okay? From here, turning our hips, pushing that knee down. All right, so we ended up here. Okay, so this changes a little bit from the last class because we have different grips now, okay? So, a really good option that can be good with what we call a near side underhook here, okay, is a, for lack of a better term, like a double knee slice or like a reverse knee slice here. So a regular knee slice would be here. We're not going to do that because Grant has the underhook on this side. Okay. We all know from like a basic knee slice, if I knee slice here, it'll take my back. Okay. So I got to work with what I got here, an underhook and an overhook. So that double knee slice here would be the opposite. I'm going to tripod and actually bring my other leg over, okay? Very important here, guys, when we land, this foot is a wedge, okay? It can go as low as like above his knee, but any higher than that, if we slip off or we just generally take our leg off, okay, we're gonna have a lot of trouble getting this foot out, okay? So try not to do that, okay? Keep this foot here. So this top foot is pushing as my bottom foot is pulling, okay? So it's a push-pull reaction to free that foot. Now from here to get side control, let's avoid getting too excited. I'm just trying to turn right to our knees. Yeah, offering space here, okay? As you start to free your knee, we want to get our hip as close to the shoulder as possible to close all of this space, okay? So to do that, I'm going to slide my left hip up into the armpit. I'm going to bring both knees together, see how. Tripod, cut your knee over, okay? Guys, I'm not doing this. Big chance for him to escape here and generally have good hip mobility. I'm cutting my left hip to the mat, okay? I'm pushing with my left shin as I pull with my right. Left knee comes through, knee to knee, I'm lifting, I'm turning. We're essentially getting to middle stage now. So let's identify this, okay? A physical cue with my arm and a physical cue with his arm, okay? So we talked about it already. He gets through with the wrist and he gets all the way up to his elbow here. Okay. Mechanically, when you're 90 degrees like this, your thumb post is ineffective. If I don't have another movement that can help me stretch this out again, which is really difficult here, it's not really going to do much, okay? So once he gets to the elbow, you guys are better off taking this off and going to the hip, okay? That's going to keep a little clearance from the shoulder. You guys see I have another stiff arm again. And this is also going to help me battle him trying to slide around the corner here, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Now, what we do next does change a little bit, okay? So, since Ulysses is closer to me now, okay? Trying to get this position, you guys see it? I can't achieve that goal of getting lower than his shoulder, so this is difficult now, all right? So we're gonna use a slightly different method to free our knee here, okay? Guys, really important for this one, this left leg, we're mindful of this still, okay? I'm gonna post my weight into my free hand here, okay? I'm gonna slightly open my chest, I'm turning my hips in like this direction, so I can start to bring this knee through, okay? Now, at this point, the main movement here, it's gonna be like we're shooting a double leg takedown, okay? And really, this is the goal for the first two techniques. Get this knee to the other side of his body, and we have a clear advantage, right? So, to situate ourselves to the same style of passing and like strong upper body grips here, we're gonna do a few things at once, but in a particular order, okay? So what that means is I do want that near side underhook again, but look, he has a base right now. He has a prop here. So if I go right now to switch to this and he pushes into me, I don't have a prop. So I need to keep this, okay? So guys, the first thing you should think about doing here to get this knee to the other side is driving into him. He does not have a post here. he's gonna start to fall back, and when you feel him start to fall back, start to get that underhook. Okay? And then you guys will be in the same spot. Now we're gonna hit that same pass. Up. Guys, make sure you're cutting your hip to the floor. Don't do this. Okay? Pushing with the top, pulling with the bottom. Again, sliding through the knees together. Alright, so right here, I let him get almost elbow deep this time. If he's wrist deep, that's when this is going to work better. But if he gets like elbow deep here, arm here. Thank God David Lee's not here. Alright, close on the hip. Alright, close out here. Remember our knees blocking. Okay? Remember, we almost want to rotate away so we can bring our knee up and out. Okay, we want our knee facing in this direction. Think like you're going to shoot a double leg this way. Okay? So here, now as we bring our head close and we scoot in close, look to reacquire that underhook as you start to drive also. So start with the post, start to drive. As you feel him tilt, get the underhook. Get the overhook. Okay? Tripod. Remember guys, hip low. Push. Once you get here, I'm staying low. Hip bone to armpit. Okay? The end of the line here is, again, we lost the wrist. That failed. This time I'm losing the elbow. Now he's basically shoulder to shoulder with me, and he has slid around the corner. Okay? So this is weak now, because he's already beaten the range of motion here. Definitely not doing this. Okay? So this is right about the time where I'll throw in my whizzer. Okay? Now, what I want to do first here, okay, is as I'm posting out, can be up on your leg if you want to, okay? Either way, we're going to be looking to get our right knee through, okay? So this is going to coincide with the week we did on the Jedi Mind Trick as well, all right? So I want this knee through, okay? Now, this is going to have a similar premise to the last one where I'm not going to make any big movements here until I'm able to tip Ulysses backwards, okay? Now, generally here, to kill the mobility of the top leg, I'm going to be sitting directly on it, okay? So I'm not going to be doing this. Move your top leg around. Yeah, see, that's pretty mobile. I'm going to be here. Okay, move it now. Okay. That's going to help stop things like the Jedi Mind Trick, okay? Now, from here, what I'm going to look to do once I have this position is push into it just like the last one. And when I feel him start to tilt over, I'm going to release my whizzer and I'm going to post my hand on the foot. Okay? This is going to prime me to start backstepping on. Okay? Now, this hand, okay, very minor here, but it can help with where we're about to go. I'm going to make a grip right above his knee, either on his pants or again if we were in no-gi, like a collar type grip. Okay? Now, even though I'm sitting on his leg, he can still move his leg up somewhat. I don't want him to catch here. So look, I'm not doing a big back step. I'm pivoting with my knee here. So it's harder for him to catch this, okay? Now, once I get to the side, we're gonna settle in reverse half guard, okay? So I'm gonna look to start to walk back, okay? Guys, as I walk back, I'm making my base really wide here for a couple reasons. I want leverage to pull him, but also importantly, when you guys first start doing this, if your legs are too narrow, okay, and you're sitting more on your back like this, if he pushes into you, you're gonna fall over and get swept, okay? So I should really be on my right hip here, okay? I want my left leg wide, and I'm pulling him to me. You guys see, like the leg drag we did? I'm twisting his spine here, okay? Now to solidify this, I have my cross face in. Again, if it was no-gi, I would grab my armpit here, pull in, and drive my shoulder in. Again, we are in the gi now, so we do have some good options here. If you guys want, from here, again, take out the lapel, take out the slap, punch this under. This is going to be a fantastic cross face. There's another tip here, okay, like when he gets the underhook. Alright, you guys can see I'm not really using this hand too much at first. Alright, so as I get my knee through and as I push into him and I post, okay. If he's ever doing things like gripping this leg, this is just reverse engineer the Jedi Mind Trick. Again, we can look to get wrist pins right away. And like while I'm holding this, I can repeat this step. So we're posting out, okay? I'm getting my knee through. Then from here, I'm starting to tilt into him. As I tilt into him and I feel him fall, that's the point where I want to post here, okay? Again, if I tilt into him, or I don't tilt into him rather, and I try to post this first, yeah, stuff like that's gonna happen, okay? So pushing in, once I feel that break, I'll post, okay? Then you guys see a lot of times, if we're putting our timing together, once you get good at this, it'll be post, pivot, and back step right away. We're not gonna do this in steps, it's gonna be fluid, okay? Post, pivot, catch this knee, start to walk away, bring it with you, okay? And you guys see, if I can't pull him, that means this leg is too narrow, okay? So I need to open the space, okay? I really want to bring these knees down and together, okay? Gi or no gi. Now as we start to punch this deep, okay, we can briefly let go of the legs here. Pop this collar out, push it down, and feed for a good cross face. Guys, if you feel his hips tilting this way at all, go ahead. Scoot back, okay? And then get that cross face, okay? Now when I let go, if I want to feed to something else, if he tilts, it's not as big of a deal because I already have that spine twist here, okay? I can take a brief moment to secure this, and then just go right back here, okay? Now, that movement is going to go directly into the pass here, okay? So, simply put, okay, we're going to keep that grip on the top leg, the pant grip for gi, a good grip on the tendon here for no gi, okay? And we're just going to pull this leg, top leg towards us, okay? Now, naturally, the bottom leg is going to stay in alignment and it's going to pull with it, so we're going to use our bottom leg as a push. This is a very similar premise to that double knee slice we did earlier. Just at a weird angle now, okay? So I'm pushing with my left shin bone right now. I'm scooting my hips up into his armpit to elongate my legs. Now I'm gonna point my toes so it's easier to slip my leg up, okay? Now at this point, once we stretch up so far, if we need to, I'll switch from my shin bone to the sole of my foot, push this out, okay? Now gi, easy, we have this pant grip. We're gonna start to push the legs away so his guard's not in alignment. And then we'll come up. You guys see, if you made the crossface or the lapel grip early, you already have it when you come up, okay? I'll do one more rep just from right here and I'll show you guys kind of no gi as well, okay? So no gi, remember, there's no lapel. I'll be grabbing the armpit, okay? And then I'll have this grip on the knee. It's still a very good grip here, okay? Shin block. Scooting up, okay? Once we feel our leg get elongated here, again, you can switch to the sole of your foot, slip this out. Okay, a couple options here for no-gi to rotate his hips. If this bottom leg is further away, we can look to underhook the leg like when we pass in like X, and then we pull this to you, start to stretch it, okay? A really strong one here, gi or no-gi, is if he's letting me have this bottom leg, we'll go for a leg weave here. Okay, so I'll underhook this leg, I'll reach through and grab his pants if it's gi, or I'll collar tie his far leg if it's no gi, and then I'll use this to stretch as well. Okay, but if for whatever reason you lose the crossface or you don't prefer the crossface, it'll still work with a reverse crossface. Okay, now we're just using our lat to put pressure in. You can even go reverse underhook here, but you guys just got to be really careful here, okay, because we're in like, I don't want to say necessarily an octopus guard, but almost like that cat-dog position where if I let him get his arm strong here, okay, now it's like a 50-50 wrestling position, okay? So if you are going to do something like this, just like your hips, like your elbow needs to be pressuring here. So Grant can't get that like reverse underhook here. Pulling. Again, we want to wedge here with the bottom leg. You can start with the shin, and as we back up, you can switch to the sole of our foot. Point the toes, pull through, okay? Some sort of lower body control, depending on what he's giving us. If he's further away, I'll tend to get the top leg. If he's trying to chase me here with his legs, that's a good time to collect both of his legs, okay? Stretch. And then come up. We're gonna go to something like saddle here, okay? We would just stop a little bit shorter to pull the legs in, okay? Reverse half guards just a little bit further than that, okay? So it's just two different strategies. We have good pathways to go back into knee slices here, okay? The only requisite, again, just like any other knee slice, would be to find the underhook here. Okay, so if I'm in saddle, maybe I entered saddle in the gi and I can't submit him, okay? We can definitely use this position to start building height. Coming back over and going into some strong knee slice entry. So in some situations here, if I can't find my wedge or I can't get my, just generally can't get my leg out, okay? We can also use this grip here to continue to stuff his knees, okay? And a big reason we would do, another big reason we would do this, okay, is if I start to lose the crossface and Ulysses frees his bottom arm, okay? Okay, so now I have no upper body control. So a lot of times here, again, we can look to plant and underhook stuff and look to potentially find situations where we can cut back over and Ulysses just asked too, like, could I also go back to quarter guard here? The answer is yes, okay? And it kind of foregoes the requisite of having the underhook as well. So let's say like I went for the knee slice and I couldn't get the knee slice or I don't prefer it, and we're just still generally here. Like, yeah, there are ways here where you can start to walk and shuffle and maybe cut back through to quarter guard. And again, if he does things like underhook me here, we can go into things like monoplata's.